Right out of the gate, we had the really fun fact of 3 nat 1s in a row. All we were doing was trying to get water. I'm a stunt guy and been doing it pretty much since I got out of high school.
Hey everyone, Amber with Dungeon Studios and Nerd Newz. We have here with us Brian from Geek Knights. We met Brian yesterday when we started setting up and got into some really good conversation about the projects that he's working on. I really want you to meet him. So Brian, if you could just take a few moments to tell our audience a little bit about you, who you are, and what Geek Knights is about.
So the first, Brian Finn, check it out if you want to IMDb and a couple of social media stuff that I'm working on. But I'm a stunt guy and been doing it pretty much since I got out of high school, and been working on films, everything from War of the Worlds, Face Off, a lot of cool stuff I've been a part of. I think like 30 movies, lots of commercials. But since I was 12, I've been a D&D player, and all of us have had those magical moments in our campaigns and things that, how cool would that be to see on the big screen? How cool would that be to see it come to life? And I dreamt about it, and maybe 15 years ago, I wrote this concept and the script of this happening, and now I have a VFX company, and I have all these amazing stunt guys, and we really do play D&D. So we took that combination of our tabletop game, recorded our tabletop game, and then went out and shot back and forth what was happening. And the whole concept of Geek Nights is you take the tabletop and you go to Geek Nights and you balance back and forth, and there's going to be 8 episodes. And the best part of this, 7 of the episodes is our actual campaign. Whatever the dice decide, they decide. There's 8 episodes. 7 of those episodes are us playing. The dice decide, lives, die, monsters, whatever you want to see. Our world, we just signed with Ed Greenwood, the creator of the Forgotten Realms. We're using his map and his setting to be our base for our campaign. And then episode 8, this is the coolest part. You guys, everyone submits their best one shot. They want to submit to us. We take the top 10, put it out to vote, and we make that episode come to life. So you can take your best moment that you ever had in D&D and see it come to life. It's going to be so badass and amazing and exciting. The coolest thing is all the ideas we're getting. So many amazing things.
That is so fantastic. Now, I did share on our Facebook page some links and information about Geek Knights when we met him yesterday. However, I urge you, if you haven't yet, go to the Geek Knights website and watch the trailer so you get a feel for what kind of project he's getting ready to put out. It looks amazing. We literally were sitting at lunch and passing the phone around the table and watching this trailer over and over and over again. I urge you to watch it and get excited with us about it. Now, I wanted to ask you if there was a moment in your campaign that you could tell us about, like the most memorable moment in your campaign that we would also see in your project.
So the right out of the gate, we had the really fun fact of 3 nat 1s in a row of 3 different people rolling them. And it created this whole entire scene at the river. All we were doing was trying to get water because we just had to, spoiler alert, escape this cart. And we wanted some water, and there was a little bit of a cliff, and all of a sudden that turns into like a 30-minute saving and near death and everything you can possibly imagine. And the energy at the table is translated when we're filming this live action, because we got dudes that can fall 25 feet into the water and tumble down a cliff. We got guys that can go in and dive in after them, and this whole thing. And you get a transition from these tabletop faces to the actual live action of this happening.
Wow.
And it was so magical, and you can actually, dude, I wish you would have seen that, and you can see it.
Yeah.
You can watch this happen. And the talent level of the crew, I'm talking the editors, the VFX, all of us are actual D&D players. And that's the biggest, most important thing that I want to do as a filmmaker, but as a D&D player. I want to do D&D justice for us as players, because no one's really done it, and no one's really done the transition of actually game to fantasy. And you can actually watch the tabletop, the whole entire unedited, and you'll see these 3 nat 1s happen in a row. And then you can go and watch the episode and see that happen.
Now, I want to kind of paint a picture. So will we see like a picture or a video of you at the table with other folks and also see you in the live action, or is it some other folks that will be?
So I tried to make this as real as possible, and the whole casting process, which was a while ago, I put out a casting call to actors, and it was kind of an epic fail, to be honest with you. So I put out a casting call in Facebook and D&D groups and all those kind of things. And so that's how we got our tabletop. Over 300 people came in, flew into Utah to audition for this thing. And we found our cast. Half of them are stunt people. Half of them are just D&D players. Now, the coolest thing, when you play D&D, some people like myself who are very myopic and super ridiculously proud, I imagine my character is me. So I actually transitioned to, I play this, he's half halfling and half drow. It's a really unique mix that has a cool backstory. And it's me playing that. 2 of the other guys, the same thing. Stunt guys playing them. But then 3 of them it's a whole different stunt double playing that person because they imagine themselves as totally somebody completely different.
I see.
And
okay.
And that's how we came up with the cast.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That is so great. Now, I think you talked a little bit about kind of your origins into this. How did you get into tabletop? Like the very beginning, how young were you? What brought you in?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, it's going to dictate age a little bit because you had the famous satanic panic, as a lot of us know about that. I grew up a preacher's kid, and my friend of mine, I stayed overnight, and a friend of mine introduced me to the game. And from moment one, it was like I went home staring up at the ceiling thinking about my character, and it was a paladin.
Oh,
and
wow.
I just wanted to create and be part of that world continually. So I had to it started out all good and fine and dandy, and then Dad sees D&D and finds out it's the devil's game. So quickly, that was thrown away. My mom snuck it out of the trash for me, and it was like literally for 2 years, every time I played, I'd have to sneak away to play D&D.
In the closet.
I still have my minis and the stuff from that time period, which is so cool. It actually survived two fires, and so it's my D&D stuff survived. A lot of stuff didn't. It's really magical for me.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So you have all that first stuff, even though 2 fires.
Yep.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
I believe that we discussed that you are going to be showing your project here in some theaters. And can you talk a little bit about that?
So we're working on all the details of this. I had a film out about 5 years ago that did about 77 theaters. So I have a really good relationship with these people, and we're combining with a couple other D&D people to make a little limited release in some theaters with our pilot. And then also, we're going to have a streaming service that we have our own streaming service for it to release it. And between those two, we're just going to try to create some whole energy and figure out where these episodes go. So we have shot all the tabletop campaign. We have only shot the very pilot episode. That's all we have in the can right now.
Okay. And so that's what we're seeing in the trailer is some of that first episode.
Exactly. Yep.
Wonderful. All the rest of the folks that are attached to the project, you said they are all into tabletop as well.
Yes.
Now, were they already into tabletop, or did you kind of pull them in and say like, hey, you should try tabletop?
No, it's weird because I have a pretty cool job, stunt guy. I'll wear shirts like stunt guy, stunt team, all this stuff. People just give me a nod. I wear a D&D shirt, and people come out of the woodwork.
Really?
Walk down in the airport, and I'll wear it's so much cooler to be a D&D guy than a stunt guy, and that's the truth. I have the whole other side thing that I didn't even tell you about. I have a documentary called Geek Knights, People of D&D, and I've been filming it for about 2 years now, going all over the world, showing not the history of D&D, but the history of what D&D means to people. I'm talking about, I went and shot this dungeon master that uses it to treat autism and autistic kids, and he talks about this story of this autistic kid comes into his group and he's looking down. He never gets eye contact, very passive and quiet. And by session 3, he's a barbarian. And whenever he talks about being a barbarian, he looks people in the eye, and he comes out of his shell. And then when he's not the barbarian, he's back to this. And then eventually it starts working. So because of that one kid that joined his group, now he has like 30 kids a week that play in different sessions.
Wow.
And it's just magical. And then there's I took D&D at UCLA as a class. And it was
it's a class at go to UCLA, folks.
Way back, exactly. And so there's a professor here at the University of Utah that we're interviewing the professors that teach it, couples that going through divorce and planning, and then all of a sudden they realize, hey, we got D&D in common. Now it's just so magical. It's not some beat up kid in his basement.
Right.
It's a badass thing to be D&D, and the camaraderie that I get just by wearing a D20 shirt is so amazing.
Wow. Do you ever wonder, this is what I wondered, is if you're wearing a shirt that says stunt double or what have you, if people just don't believe that that's true, but then D&D is more approachable, or
Maybe.
But it is such a fantastic thing.
It's not so much approachable, but it's relatable. One of the people in our doc is a girl that's kind of she was very much nerdy and wallflowery, as she describes herself, in high school, and she went to this church group, and they're at a campfire, and everybody talked about something that they like to do, and she just sheepishly raised her hand and said, "I like to play D&D." And there were like 22 kids, and she said like 16 of them jumped up, and this boy that she had a crush on, the biggest, he's like this high school baseball player from another school. He was D&D player, and now they're going out because of the D&D connection. I think people connect with it, and there's a lot more people that play than you would know, and the growth is astronomical right now.
Right. That's the thing is, I used to think that there weren't that many people, but now I think there have always been a lot of people that are into tabletop. It's just way more acceptable to kind of be out about it, and so now people are finding each other, connecting over it. I think that's so fantastic.
Yeah, that's why we put the D20 in our logo, because that's the universal sign, kind of. I mean, we wear, there's it's the May 4th tomorrow. There's Star Wars. There's all these little kind of cool, geeky, nerdy things. But the D20, that dice is like the unifying thing. We quickly found that out.
Right. It's like the most recognizable icon for D&D.
Yep, it is.
Wow. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share? Any websites or where people can find you? So
geeknights.com is big. I'm working on the social media thing, kind of late to the party, but we appreciate any of that attention. That's what we got to build. Go support Ed Greenwood, which is one of the biggest legends and creator of the Forgotten Realms. He promotes us regular. And then the AI guy, who's awesome. His D&D stuff is amazing.
Look forward to that.
Here's some crazy stunt stories, I'll tell you.
You regain consciousness. You open your eyes to find you are a prisoner in a rolling cart, being pulled through the forest.
I could probably jump in there and potentially save him.
Dwarf! You got that.
He's dead! Dude, he's dead!
Save our lives, please!
Geek Knights. Let the dice decide.